Brooke Lynn finds her mom doing her nails in the Quartermain kitchen and needs her help with the wedding, specifically her dress. Brooke Lynn explains when they decided to downsize the wedding, she halted work on Leela's dress. However, she called the shop back to start fixing up the dress, but the fabric is too old and can't be altered or even worn. Lois says it's time to get creative and salvage some part of the dress. Lois calls the shop and learns that most of the dress is not salvageable, but one part is. Brooke Lynn talks to the dressmaker and says she can come in for a fitting, but not now as she has a crucial business meeting. Brooke Lynn rushes out. Sunny sits at the Metro Court bar and waits for Lois, only for Natalia to show up. She's here for a business meeting and the person she's meeting is late. Sunny is also meeting someone and asks her to join him and they can wait together. Natalie says since their last meeting he seems happier and lighter. Sunny says he's in the mood to celebrate and fills her in about Dant. Natalia is happy for him, and he was right when he said there is nothing more important than making sure your child knows you love them. He asks if things are better between her and Blaze. She says yes and no. She admits she's still struggling with her feelings about her daughter being gay. She asks if it took Sunny time to accept Christina. Sunny says it didn't. Natalia keeps thinking Allison is going through a reaction from Link and asks Sunny if she ever questioned if anything happened to Christina. He says he did wonder about her past relationship, but also knows Christina has always been exactly who she is. Sunny asks if Natalia thinks she knows more about what Allison needs than she does. Natalia says of course, not that her daughter listens to her. They toast to their daughters when Brooke Lynn and Lois arrive. VLK looks concerned. Brooke Lynn and Lois approach Sunny and Natalia and apologize for being late as there was a wedding emergency. Brooke Lynn tells Natalia they should go find a table to chat, while her mom and Sunny catch up. Lois immediately notices Sunny smiling while looking at Natalia walk away. Lois and Sunny sit down at the bar, and Lois warns Sunny that Natalia is a stage mother, and one who is so immersed in her daughter's life that Blaze won't be able to have a life of her own. Sunny points out she's involved in BLQ's life, but Lois says she lets Brooke Lynn be her own person. Their talk turns to Dan's recovery, and Sunny explains he's come to rely more and more on his son lately. Danta has a way of getting through to him, and he needs that in his life now. At their table, Natalia tells Brooke Lynn she questions some of her managerial choices. Natalia notes she has a wedding coming up. Will she be able to focus on her daughter's career? Brooke Lynn says of course. Natalia asks what if another wedding emergency comes up, say during a meeting with a record executive. They continue talking, and Natalia makes it clear that she wants Blaze's private life to remain private. Brooke Lynn explains she doesn't manage her private life, and neither does Natalia, so a word of advice. Brooke Lynn points out that Sunny is Christina's father, and he thinks she hung the moon, so she doubts he'd appreciate her trying to keep Christina and Blaze's relationship a secret. Molly arrives at Bobby's and spots Carly, who says she did a great job at Jason's arraignment. Molly thought she'd hold prosecuting Jason against her. Carly says, "Who says I don't?" Molly says she was assigned the case and Carly knows, and Jason is free and Dante is home. So that's all that matters. Christina shows up to meet her sister and asks Carly if she's okay with Nina back at Crimson. Carly says she's fine with. She's busy here and Drew must have had a reason to take Nina back. Molly and Christina sit down, and Molly thinks Christina was a little insensitive with Carly. Christina doubts Carly is crying over Drew and knows her sister is just as curious about the situation. As they talk, Joss enters and she and Christina give one another the cold shoulder. Molly asks what is going on with her and Joss. Christina has no idea what Joss' problem is. She tells her about their incident at Jason's arrangement. Meanwhile, Joss tells Carly about Dex becoming a cop and how Sunny won't like this. She is worried for Dex and begins stating very loudly that the FBI needs to investigate and put Sunny in jail for the end of time. Christina walks over and confronts Joss for talking trash about her father, especially given everything he's done for her. She calls her an ingrate and points out Sunny helped raise her and gave her everything. Joss says she was a kid and had no choice but to live in Sunny's house as his stepdaughter and calls Sunny a thug and a killer. Molly steps to her sister's side, and Joss tells Molly to show Christina the file on Cyrus beating and how Sunny did it. She is not going Molly scolds Joss and reminds her that Christina is pregnant and doesn't need this stress, and what good does rubbing Sunny in her face Molly follows Christina out. Carly says Joss's rage is only hurting herself, and she has to find a way to let it go. Joss vents she's angry about what Sunny made Dex do, and she's angry she can't be with Dex because he was going to go through with it. Carly reminds her she made that choice, and only she knows if it was the right one. Joss still loves and misses Dex, and Carly says she's been there. Joss is worried that if Dex becomes a cop, Sunny will take him out. At Aurora, Drew takes a meeting with Jordan. Jordan talks about how they can work on Port Charles' image and move it away from its reputation as a mafia city. She enjoys talking with him and notes he makes her not miss being a cop and realize she can still help the city she loves in other ways. She is hoping Aurora will play a pivotal role in helping improve the city's image. They are interrupted by John Cates, and Drew asks who he is and what he wants. Jordan introduces John, who has questions about his brother. He asks if Drew has spoken to Jason. Drew says he hasn't. John asks why did he go to his arraignment. Drew explains they have people in common, and that's the end of it. John doesn't believe him. John warns Drew if Jason is involved in criminal activities, and Drew is implicated, he can be sent back to Pentonville. Drew says he can investigate him as much as he wants, but he will make sure the investigation is made public, and he's sure the FBI doesn't want that exposure. John thanks him for his time and says if he hears from his brother, to call him. Drew doesn't expect to and tells him if he wants to bring down Jason, then that's on him. Alone, Jordan asks Drew who he hates more, Agent Cates or his brother. Drew doesn't hate Jason, but he brings his own brand of trouble and doesn't want to be dragged down with him. He thanks her for sticking around. She says watching him take down Cates was a thing of beauty. In Pentonville, Jack gloats that Anna came back to see him, as he predicted. He heard she's the police commissioner again, and can't believe she doesn't miss working in intelligence. She does, but also enjoys police work. Brennan remembers her from back in the day, her ambition, and how she was scary. He wonders why she's here. She says a name came up that made her think of him. Pikeman. Brennan explains the WSB was investigating Pikeman, but Anna knows he was running Pikeman and the WSB at the same time. He tries to deny it, but she knows a partnership with Pikeman gave the WSB untraceable weapons so they could meddle in countries they shouldn't have been otherwise. However, he got himself caught because he couldn't leave Port Charles alone. So what is so important about this place? He says what's not to like about Port Charles. She brings up the hard copy of the file she had on the op they worked on years ago, the one that went south, and notes the $10 million that went missing during it was enough to make a deal with Pikeman. She says that's why he had to silence her. Jack asks why then is she still alive. Anna says not for lack of trying. Brennan suggests someone framed him, maybe someone who didn't like the direction he was taking the WSB. He thinks he could help her as she helps prove who framed him. Anna will consider it and says with him inside, who is running Pikeman? She wants a name. He claims he doesn't know, but Anna says she and Dante were targeted by Hume, who was working under him. Brennan asks if she can prove that, or if she has any evidence tying him to Pikeman. Anna can't tie Pikeman to him now, but she can back in the day thanks to that failed ops mission report. She says his career skyrocketed after that op, as if someone higher up rewarded him for what he did, and Pikeman was far too valuable to the WSB then as it is now to let it go. Again, she asks who is running it now. Jack wishes he could help her, but she's wasting her time. He calls the guard to take him away. Sam brings Dan home. They sit on the couch, and Sam has missed this and was afraid she'd never have him here in their home again. She loves him and welcomes him back with a kiss. Rocco and Scout come home from school, and they are happy to see Dante. Sam asks where Danny is. They say he just said he had something to do. Eventually, Danny appears and explains he stopped at Eckerd's to get donuts for Danny's homecoming. Sam sends Scout and Rocco to their rooms so she can talk to Danny. She asks if he went to see Jason, and he says he didn't. She believes him and will give him his phone back, but with the locator on. He thinks she doesn't trust him. She does, but doesn't want him around his father as he leads a dangerous life. Danny heads off to do homework. Sam can see Dant has something to say. Dant thinks she may have made a mistake.